Hey there, I'm Adam Gaines and welcome to MakeGains, the channel where we break down money, mindset, and moves you can make to level up your life. Today we're going to be talking about layoffs. Let's get into it.
I just got laid off, and here's what I wish more people talked about. There's no warning. One day you're in your meetings, working, and the next day you're just off the org chart. Even when you know it's not about your performance, you're still left there wondering why and what you did wrong. Then you're left in survival mode. You're left there wondering about housing, food, cost, and you just start doing the math. Then you spend hours tailoring your resume, making sure that cover letter is all right, just to not get heard from and ghosted. If you've been laid off recently, you're not alone, and you're not the problem. The system is cold, but we don't have to be.
The system is cold, legit. I know a lot of people throughout my business career have told me that loyalty to a company is foolish because no company is going to be loyal to you. Now, I don't know if I 100% agree with that or not. I appreciate the company I'm working for, and I appreciate that they give me the job and the salary, and I also want to make sure I do a great job while I'm there. I wouldn't say I don't have any loyalty, but also you need to be smart. You need to be thinking about yourself and your family. So what he said about layoffs having no warning, I believe that sometimes there are signs, and so you may be here because you're thinking that you are about to get laid off, or you may have recently been laid off. So either way, I'm sorry, and I hate that for you. We're going to talk about some things you can do to prepare yourself. So we're going to talk about both those scenarios today.
If you or someone you know has recently gotten news that their job might be let go or they're in a hiring freeze, please listen up. This is one of the most difficult things to have a conversation about, but it is so important. Fun fact, I am someone who lost their job due to layoffs. It was my dream company, and the news was extremely sudden. The reason I'm making this video is because I want to share 3 things that I wish someone would have told me when I was going through such a difficult time. Number 1. What are all of the possible scenarios? This was an exercise that I practiced pretty regularly when I first heard the news. What it looked like was laying out 3 specific options that I felt were potential scenarios. I lose my job. I was on furlough, so I returned from furlough with the same responsibilities, same job title. Or the third option for me at the time was I returned from furlough, different job, different team. It was extremely important for me to take those 3 options and rank them best to worst. By doing that and doing that proactively, I was put into a headspace where I could plan against any one of those 3 scenarios. The second piece of advice, nurture your network. Again, when I received news that layoffs would be coming, the first instinct that I had was, let's go to the job boards. But what I wish I had been told is that my network is the job board. Those years you've put into your career have been surrounded by people who trust you, who value you, who want to see you succeed. So in a situation like this, where we're questioning our job security, who are the 3 to 5 people that you could go to within your professional network to ask those vulnerable, important questions? And the third thing, anyone in this current environment who is questioning if they will have a job, please ask for help. Your job security and not knowing what's coming is not an easy thing to navigate. To try and figure it out alone makes it even more isolating. There is so much power in being able to go to someone who you trust, who has helped you in your career, or perhaps who can support you in your personal life. Now, when you go to that specific person, be prepared with a very specific ask. I need help with my resume. I need some help outlining my finances. I need help delegating these tasks. Do not be ashamed to ask for help. I send so much love and understanding and support to anyone who is going through such a tough situation. Follow for more.
So I 100% agree with everything she said about weighing your options, making sure that you think through what's happening and make the best decision. But the most important thing I believe that she said was focusing in on your network. So, I had an old boss tell me one time that, hey, think about any of the people that you've worked with who have moved on to another job, or someone who's working for a competitor, or someone who we've worked with as a supplier. Some of those people are going to be the people who give you your next job. So first of all, if you're in a position where you have a job, still think through those people, because those are the people you should be leaning on now for professional advice. And if you go ahead and build that relationship, then it won't seem so much like you're looking to get something out of it, or that you're looking for something just because you need a job. It'll feel more natural. So go ahead and start cultivating those relationships, and they can make you better in the job that you're in. They also can help you with taking that next step with your career. So especially with folks who, they've been in the places where you want to go, they can help you to get there and they can pull you up. So I think it's super important to maintain those connections. And then lastly, taking care of yourself, right? Have those people that you can lean on for help with your resume, for help with taking a look at your LinkedIn profile. Those kind of things are super important if you're in the mix of it. But do those things before it's time. So, one thing that I try to do as a habit is every year, whenever it's time for me to submit to my boss, my performance review stuff for the year, I always go back through my resume and make sure that one, I've updated that, but two, that I keep a running list of those things that are happening in case I have to go through an interview. Because, one of the things that's super frustrating is if you neglect to think about being in interview mode, and then it comes time for you to have an interview, whether that's for the company you work for or for another company, it's hard to go back through and think about all the things that you've done and think about the examples, because most of the interview styles that I've been through have been a situational interview questions where they want to know a specific example of when you did something. And so if you can write down those major things that you did throughout the year and then have some notes about it, like, what was the outcome? How did I play a role in this? What exactly did I do? Those things will help you when it comes time for an interview. So go ahead and write those down. And if you do it every year, then you just have this really nice running list, and you've got a lot of things you can pull from when it comes time for you to make that next move.
Hi, I'm Bailey. I'm 25 and I recently got laid off from my job. And I don't plan on getting a 9-to-5. So here are the steps that I took to save money right away. First, I went to my leasing office, told them what happened, and saw if there was another option for rent payment, whether that be reducing the rent or paying as I go. The second was I downloaded an app that told me all of my recurring expenses every month, canceled all of those subscriptions that are absolutely not needed. I had a storage unit and I canceled that and pulled all of the stuff out of there as well. Returned any things that I recently bought that I don't need. And then I took a look at my bare minimum expenses. This is my rent, utilities, gas, food, dogs, car payment, car insurance, phone payment. If your utilities vary, go on the higher side of what you've had to pay throughout the year. Food, budget that as much as you can. Once you have that number, make sure that that is your bare minimum living expense. That is what I know I need to take in every single month through my side hustle.
This is the best advice I think you can take for after you get laid off, right? And you can do some of that ahead of time, but what's super important is that what, out of all your expenses, what are the things that you can cut out? So first of all, if you're not budgeting right now, you need to have a budget. So even if you're just loosely following it, you need to know what you're spending each month in every category. And that'll help you with keeping from spending too much, but it'll also help you whenever you run into a situation where you've got to make some cuts. Because first off, you need to have an emergency fund. And that emergency fund needs to include 3 to 6 months of living expenses. I think that's something that a lot of Americans do not have. So if you don't have anything at all right now, then your number one goal before you pay off debt or anything is to get at least a month. So you're talking like save that first $1,000, okay? And then you're gonna build that up to $2,000 or $3,000. You're gonna keep going until you get a full month's living expenses, all right? Then you can get back into paying some of that debt. But my advice to you is to work as hard as you can to build up that 3 to 6 months emergency fund. And what that does for you is that gives you peace of mind knowing that not only will you be able to make it through an unexpected something happening with your car or your AC or whatever that is, but also whenever you get into that 3 to 6 month range, if you lose your job, you're not going to also lose your house, okay? Because you can make some adjustments and be able to afford to live for at least 3 to 6 months. And, for my wife and I, we've talked about, hey, what are those things that we could cut, right? We're budgeting for things like a vacation. Well, if I lose my job, guess what we're not going to do? We're not going to go on vacation. We're also going to cut out Netflix and, Disney Plus, all that stuff. We're gonna take everything that we have and we're gonna ratchet it down to the bare minimum. Whenever you're doing your budget, I think it's a good idea to have some kind of system that allows you to say, all right, here are the things that are complete necessities, right? So that those would be the items like your housing, your utilities, your gas payment, transportation, food. Okay, and I'm not talking about going out to eat. Going out to eat would be a non-essential, but you're going to put a little green box or something like that beside those. That way hey, these are my essentials. These are the things I have to keep no matter what. And then you're going to go down through it and you're going to say, these are not essentials, but important. Okay, so that might be going out to eat. It might be a gym membership. It might be clothes, okay? And then beyond that, you're going to have your wants. So that would be the things like vacation. It'd be your luxury items. It'd be clothes that aren't a necessity, right? Just because you want to look good. Any of the impulse shopping stuff. So probably 99% of your Amazon purchases, those kind of things are wants normally. They're discretionary. You can completely cut them out, especially if you need to and you're in that type of situation. So that would be what I would recommend. And what she said also was she had a storage unit. She got rid of it. Yeah, you don't need to be keeping the old furniture or whatever it is that's costing you a couple $100 a month to store. Instead, you can go sell all the junk that's in there and eliminate that expense. So great idea. And that really that's a Ramsey principle about ratcheting down whenever you have some kind of unexpected job loss, so that you can make that 3 to 6 months go as far as possible. And then once you get a job, you can bring those things back. So you're going to build your emergency fund back up, and then you can start reintroducing those discretionary items.
I survived 4 layoffs by being and doing this one thing. I was the single point of failure for a very long time. And for those that don't know what a single point of failure is, it is the subject matter expert for one particular thing. So in your company right now, think of your go-to guy for sales or design or whatever that concept is. And a lot of companies don't like having a single point of failure because if you were to get up and quit, it'd be extremely hard to replace you. But this is how you're going to use it to your advantage, and it's going to be your new superpower. So at my old company, I was the only person that knew cybersecurity for a very long time, and I was the only person that could talk to customers about cybersecurity. So that in itself was my single point of failure. So if they were to get rid of me, they wouldn't have a security person. And you need a security person. So in your company, you are going to find one thing that you're extremely good at, and you are going to be the go-to person for that one thing. And it's going to put you at such a competitive edge, it's not even funny. And I feel like in this market, you really got to find something that makes you so different from someone else, because it is tough. But I'm telling you, try it out and you will never be replaced.
So I wanted to play that one just because I think there's some fallacies here. One is the thought that you'll never be replaced. All right, I have seen roles eliminated that shocked me, where everyone around was going, that person played a critical role. Why did we get rid of that person? And guess what? Every single time, the business keeps moving and we figure it out. Okay, somebody else has to learn it or whatever. So I don't think there's any guarantees by saying I'm going to be unreplaceable because nobody's unreplaceable. However, I do think it is a big help to be that person where everybody's going to you for whatever it is. That way, when it does come time, if your boss has a say in it, and I can tell you that many times, even at the director, senior director levels, they're not being asked. Someone in an HR office that is unrelated to to your work group is making those decisions. That's really unfortunate when companies do that, but I know for a fact that that's the way it is sometimes. So, but if your manager gets to weigh in on it, they're going to think back to which of my employees is it going to be hardest to do without, and then they normally call that a rank and riff. So they're gonna rank by, best employees to worst, or most needed to least needed, and then they riff based on that. But I do think it's still a great idea to get yourself into a position where you've got a skill that people are leaning on you for, but that also means that if you ever did need to leave, you can take that skill and bring it into other companies too. So it's still a great idea, but I'm just going to recap this video with the top 7 things you need to do in order to make it out of a layoff situation. Number 1, you need to have your emergency fund. We already talked about that, 3 to 6 months. Number 2, you need to have your LinkedIn updated and your resume updated with up-to-date information. Number 3, you want to grow and leverage your network. So we talked about that earlier. That's making sure that you foster those relationships, that you have a community around you of people that want to see you succeed. And those are going to be the most likely places that you'll find that new job. Number 4 is upskill. So that's develop your skills and add new skills. So that way, when it comes time to be looking for a new job, you have an advantage against people that you're competing against. Number 5, review your finances and cut anything that's unnecessary, or be prepared to cut anything that's unnecessary. Number 6, you need to understand your benefits. And the reason you need to do that is because when it comes time to have that severance conversation, you need to know what you're really going to be looking to replace. You can also negotiate these things in a severance package. So understanding your benefits and understanding the value that goes along with that is going to be very helpful to you in that situation. Number 7, save your accomplishments and have proof, if you can have it, of what you've done and why that matters. And that's going to help you when you go to move into that next role. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you have anybody that you know that's in this situation or is worried about being in this situation, share this video with them. Also, if you're getting anything out of the channel, we'd love it if you would like and subscribe. It helps us tremendously. We're trying to grow the channel. I am here to help you make gains, and we'll see you next time.